but Reliance Industries is also in focus. Morgan Stanley has Reliance as the top pick in the sector. They have in fact upgraded the stock, or raised the target price rather, to 3,085, which is a big upside to the current market price. They say that the fourth investment cycle that Reliance has announced to the tune of $50 billion over the next 3 years, it's progressing firmly well. And they also talk about how the investment cycle this time around is supported with 1.5 to 2 times the operating cash flow and the EBITDA than the last cycle. So the investment cycle this time is quite convincing to them. They also speak about how the investments are happening across all verticals, whether it's chemicals, 5G, retail, and even the new energy vertical. And all of this put together will make sure that Reliance doubles in its earnings by 2027. The stock actually is up 1.5%. Deepak, comment on this one. Of course, the future is bright, and we all know that. But do you think, do you concur with Morgan Stanley that, you know, this stock could even get to 3,085 anytime soon?
Well, I hope so, because we own it and it's one of our largest holdings. But and I'm very biased here. But the main thing about Reliance, I think, is the fact that it's 3 large, very separate businesses. There's retail, there is Geo and the telecom business together, and there is the energy space. They're making investments. They've made investments in all of these 3 spaces. They continue to be making investments. They own Hamleys in the retail space. They own a bunch of other things, including now recently, I think they acquired some old name brands like Campa Cola as well. So they're kind of pushing up on all of these cylinders. But I think the value of this company is greater than what Reliance trades at right now. If they were all individually listed, the valuations would be higher than the equivalent of 3085, if I just may put it. But I think it's a bet on the future. There are a lot of old economy pieces in there. The petrochem piece continues to be a cash flow generator, and so does oil and gas, the refining pieces. But there's a lot of significant new hydrogen investments in the power electronic space and so on. I think I would bet on that as the future driver of growth. The number of 3,000 doesn't look very exciting. It's just 20% away from here. You know, it should get there with just GDP growth in 2 years. Just saying. But I think the bigger thing will be if you can get a significantly higher multiple than that when all of these businesses demerge. As I said, I'm biased, so you know, take my words with a pinch of salt here.
Okay, let's before we thank you, let's pull out a chart of Indian hotels once again. Deepak, it's been phenomenal, right? The run in all the hotel stocks. But Indian hotels, what's your view here?
So I'm positive again. We own this in the PMS. The idea here was that there would be an unlock and there would be a lot of activity driving people to in domestic hotels, because international tourism is still a little, you know, a little more complicated to do. And it's actually turned out that it's the case. Your bookings and hotels in pretty much any holiday destination. Anuj, I don't know if you, I mean, if you look at the numbers, it's like your holiday budget just has to double if you want to go to a Taj hotel in any of these large well-known destinations. Even in the rainy season, it's kind of strange that it's happening like that. But the problem has been their debt overload. They've kind of added on quite a bit in the last because of the pandemic, and that has to unwind slowly. They did a rights issue. The share has doubled from the point at which it first hit its all-time high after COVID, which was at 150, 160 levels. It's a 300 plus. I think it's like reasonably valued. And I'd expect that there would be some volatility in the stock price once the post-COVID, you know, frenzy and ends and international tourism starts to take off again. But I think long-term, it's still a very good story. And Indian tourism is, you know, terribly under-penetrated, if you ask me. So I think long-term, I'd still like to own this stock.
Yeah, Deepak, thanks a lot for that. I can tell you that I had to cancel my holiday because I couldn't get, you know, room for decent rate. So the cancellation of flights was cheaper than, you know, than booking the hotel. So thanks a lot for joining us. Have a good evening. Phenomenal move in some of these hotel stocks.